everybody, welcome back to my channel for another fantasy painting tutorial. This one's a fun one and you're going to learn a lot, so stay tuned and hit subscribe. I've got a full list of all the colors I'm using down in the description box below. I'm going to start off, I've got here turquoise, bright aqua green, phthalo blue, dioxazine purple. I've got neon pink, yellow, warm and cool, a 1-inch oval mop brush, and I'm going to start with my yellow, cool yellow, work my way out into the warm yellow and that beautiful neon pink. Just creating lots of little swirls, and at this point just having fun with my brush. To be honest, I didn't even know what I was going to paint, so this is another one of those paintings where I'm just painting intuitively, choosing colors that speak to me and make me feel alive and happy, and having fun with my brush. I'm going to take that green turquoise and just add a few little dabs on the left and the right. I've got another mop brush here. It's a 1-inch. This one's a little bit stiffer, but it doesn't matter. You can use any brush that you feel comfortable with for blending all the colors around and the paint around. If you need to, add a little bit of water on your brush, but keep in mind, don't add too much water, otherwise you're going to lose the saturation of your paint and you're going to just water it down so it won't be as vibrant. Now that I'm blended out some of that turquoise, I'm going to go in and add some more turquoise as well as my phthalo blue, one of my favorite blues. It's so pretty and looks nice with all the other colors in this painting. Notice how when I come over the pink with that phthalo blue, it instantly makes it purple. I might not even need purple for this painting if I can create it with those two colors that are already on my palette, but we'll see. So I'm just going to swirl and blend around and slowly start to create a beautiful magical galaxy looking type of sky. Now I've got another 1-inch mop brush. This one's a little bit softer. I've got titanium white, no water on my brush at all. I'll let you guys know if I'm using any water, okay? Because the paint underneath is all wet still, I don't need any water at this point to help work that paint out of my brush and across the canvas. So it's still a nice texture that I can easily blend my paint around. And I like to do that rather than using water if I can, because then you get way more color out of your paint, and a little bit of water always kind of takes a little bit of that color away. So keep that in mind. So I'm blending it all around, creating a lot of softer areas. Now I'm taking a filbert brush. Now you can use any size filbert brush that you feel comfortable with, even a round brush if you want. I like the filbert brush because it has that round half moon, half circle shape to it, and I can create some really nice round peaks and lots of clouds. So I'm using a little bit of Dioxazine purple and blending it into that wet white paint that I've got underneath. So we're going to create a lot of pretty shades of purple here depending on what I place that Dioxazine purple over. Right, so when I go over a little bit of the bluer area, we're going to get another color. When I take it over the neon pink, we're going to get more of a violet shade of purple. So I'm going to keep going around adding more and more of this, and then we'll come in with the next step. I'm just going to add a little bit more to the top right corner and the bottom left and the bottom right. And then we'll use another brush and start coming in, and we're going to use a smaller brush and start coming in with some finer details. So I've got a number 2 round brush here, and I'm going to be taking a little bit more of these colors here. So I'll have a full list below, but I've got neon pink, both yellow, warm and cool, and turquoise and white. I'm going to come over and just start blending and kind of scumbling out, being very loose with my brush. And it's just about adding color at this point. We're not painting anything in particular. We're just building up these beautiful colors in the sky. After I add a little patch here and there loosely with the turquoise, I'm going to dot and dab for some little stars and then go around them to give them a glowing haze. And then I'll re-tap the inside with a little bit of yellow, a little bit of white. I'll alternate the colors I'm using, but apply them the same way. So I'm going to apply all of this in the same technique, little dots, and you can tint your white like I'm tinting my white with yellow. I'll tint it with, pink, yellow, whatever colors that you want. These luminous neon colors that I'm using make the most beautiful pastel shades. It just makes your paintings extra magical and pop off the canvas. So in between painting those little glowing stars, I'm going to wiggle around and create little ruffled edges, finer little details on my clouds. So just smaller little scoops and little bubbles like this. It's actually really easy to do, and it's going to make your paintings look like you've spent days and days on them when really you've just taken a couple seconds to do it. So It really works well if you have a round brush. A liner brush can be a little bit trickier to handle, especially if you're a beginner. So just get a number 1 or a number 2 round brush. I guess it all depends on what brand you're using. These are no name. I just got a bunch under $20 actually from Amazon a few years ago. I don't even think they have them anymore, but just goes to show you that you don't need to spend a lot of money to get some good brushes out there. So make sure that you guys aren't spending more than you have to on your supplies. The only thing that I really splurge on are my neon paints by Holbein. By the way, I'll have a link below for those. I don't make any money. I'm not sponsored by them, though I wish I was. I just like to share products that I love and enjoy with you all. Okay, I'm just going to keep continuing here, adding these beautiful little glowing stars with layering my colors over. So turquoise looks great over top of all of these colors actually. So the turquoise over the blue, the purple, as well as the pink, because the pinky red color is obviously red and green are complementary colors, so you can't go wrong there. And as long as you're, toning it a little bit and softening it with a little bit of white, it's going to look glowing and really, really pretty. So you can decide how much or how little you want to add to yours. It looks pretty just like this, but I'm going to keep going, mostly because I'm just enjoying myself so much. But the more that you guys watch me paint and demonstrate my brush stroke, brush technique, color mixing, placement of my colors, the more that you're going to learn. So that's the best way to learn is by watching. I'm just going to pick up a little bit more of my yellow and white for the top right here and just kind of wiggle and squiggle and blend a little bit around here. I'm not overworking any one area. I just gently wiggle, and like I said, just wiggle and squiggle around. That's really all I'm doing. There's nothing too technical about it or intimidating. Just follow along, having fun, feeling loose and carefree, and concentrating on where you add your colors, because that's really, really important, where you're adding your colors. But because all these colors look nice together, you really can't go wrong. There's some combinations that will overlap and layer nicer than other ones. I specifically love the way the turquoise is looking over the blue and the purple. I'm going to switch over to my filbert brush now, and I'm going to start adding a few more light areas in here. Some of the stars I want to make a little bit bigger and glowier, I guess you could say, and then I'm going to alternate and add a few more shadows on my clouds by taking some purple and just adding those little wiggles and scoops. By adding a little bit more shadow here and there, we'll build up our contrast a little bit more, but make sure you don't add too much purple to your clouds and your sky, because we don't want that to compete with our silhouette, our fence that's going to be in silhouette later on. That's got to be the darkest part of the painting, and that's going to be our silhouette. So whenever you're adding a little bit of purple, make sure it's thin, so just a tiny bit of purple, and you can also add a little bit of white to it to soften it. But the Dioxazine purple I'm using is really, really dark, so go easy on that for your sky. And then just layer over, choosing some pink. You can also use neon rose. So the Holbein comes in a variety of different colors. It comes in neon rose, and you can also get a neon purple violet, which I happen to be out of right now, and I really miss it. I hope I can get some again soon. I've just been really, really busy lately, helping my daughter out and looking after my beautiful grandson. They recently moved in here with us, and it's such a joy. The house is full of life again. I was kind of sad when my kids grew up and moved out of the house. I had that empty nest syndrome, and so it's nice to have that life back, but I don't have a lot of time to go shopping anymore. So I've been using everything I've got here in my studio, and I do have a lot of paint, but the neon purple violet is my favorite. So I'm gonna make sure I pick some of that up next time I hit the art store in the city. I've got a little liner brush right now. I'm gonna add some neon orange, and I'm going to just do a filter over here after adding a couple little twinkling stars there with some white and my liner brush. I've got a mini liner brush because the canvas I'm using is very small, okay? So I use a smaller brush for smaller details for a smaller canvas. So just use your judgment, trust your judgment, and you'll need bigger brushes for bigger paintings and canvases, right? So after everything is dry underneath, you can see I'm going over here and I'm glazing. So I'm nothing fancy about this. I'm just applying transparent paint over the center of the painting. So I've got my yellows, my orange, a little bit of white, and I'm going to start applying little sunbeams and sun rays down on the bottom. So I just kind of cut my painting in half. Right in the middle is where I'm applying most of that white after the orange and the yellow. So again, I'm coming in with yellow, cool, the neon like highlighter cool yellow, and a little bit of white. We'll add that sun right there, very soft and warm, magical glow, very calming to look at, along with all those vibrant colors in the behind in that sky. And then just a little bit of purple and neon orange. We're going to make burnt sienna. So it's very, very similar, if not exactly like burnt sienna here. And then I'm going to go along the bottom portion of the painting, and we're going to work on some shadow here in the foreground. So by doing this, really instantly just is starting to bring this painting even more to life, adding all this contrast here. Instead of adding black though, this is something that's really important. I like to mention to you guys, don't use black. Use a dark color, or use other colors to make the darkest color you can. It's going to be similar at first glance. It'll look like black, but it's not. It's going to be rich color, and it's going to stand out and just sing with all the other colors in your painting. So it's way more interesting to do that. So I wanted to add a lot of character to this painting. So what better way to do that than have a really crooked looking fence? So leaning this way and that way, different heights of my fence posts here, and then little lines back and forth for some extra shadows in the water, and then or not in the water, in the field here. And then I'm going to add just like a barbed wire wiggly here through all those crooked fence posts, and maybe another one here across the top. You can add 2 or 3, or even just one if you want. It's a really old fence, so you can also just use a liner brush and a little bit of water if you want to have a little bit narrower and faint looking wire going through your fence posts. But I just find using the filbert brush, less pressure for when I'm just, hardly touching the canvas, when I want to create those finer details, works just fine for me. So it depends on how comfortable you are with the brush and what level or stage you're at of painting. The last thing I'm going to do here is just take a little bit of those colors, the Dioxazine purple and the orange, a little bit watered down on my brush, but not too watered down, and just do a little filter blending and scumbling over the top of the canvas there that you saw me do just a second ago. And then I'm going to redo or re-highlight my sun, I should say, because now that it's had time to dry, it's kind of settled in there and faded a bit. So I just need to add one last little dot and dab of bright titanium white here, gently soften around, pull a few little diagonal flicks and pulls here for my final sunstrokes or sun rays. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this one as much as I did painting it. Take care, and please subscribe for more. Bye.